Good afternoon, everybody. Jared Smith here from Charleston, South Carolina, with the Carolina Weather Group. Just doing a quick update for you on where we stand with our winter storm that is starting to, it's going to be getting going here a little bit. We have some updates on the watches, warnings, and advisories here. So let's just get right into that as we get started here this afternoon. Hopefully, everyone is having a staying warm so far. It has been a very, very chilly start to the day, to put it mildly. All right, let me get let me get this up here. Sorry about that, folks. It's quite a thing. All right, so let's punch this up and let's get rolling. All right, so here's our updated winter weather alerts. We have some new winter storm warnings that have actually been extended west in the last hour or so. Raleigh has brought in National Weather Service in Raleigh has brought in the city of Raleigh into the winter storm warning. There has been a pretty pronounced westward trend in snowfall, and we'll get to that here in a second. That has necessitated some advisories and warnings being moved a little bit further west. We also have some additional winter storm warnings that have gone up just south of the Charlotte metro here as well, in South Carolina, taking in places like Dillon County, Darlington County. So we're seeing the trends work out. We're seeing the details work out, and that is something to be expected. So a quick update on expected snow totals in the Raleigh area, and you can see down Raleigh is now expecting 2 to 3 up to 4 inches of snow in spots, starting to look like more like 3 to 4 inches of snow from Rocky Mount to Wilson, down I-95 to near Fayetteville. So the snow risk is actually heading up. We still have a significant ice risk, though. That's going to absolutely be the concern, especially for eastern North Carolina and eastern South Carolina. But we are seeing this upward trend a little bit in the snowfall, which is for snow lovers certainly encouraging to see. So let's take you over to the observations, and what we've got going on here is well, pretty straightforward. We have pretty cold temperatures up in North Carolina, just about the entire state now under freezing, aside from Laurinburg, which is holding out at 33, but we have Franklin, Macon County Airport at 37. But other than that, well below freezing at this point, as we've gotten a lot of cold air work down. This freezing air is beginning to work its way into South Carolina. You have still at 35 in Columbia, 36 in Pickens, 34 in Greenville, South Carolina. But we're seeing 32 at Manning, 32 at Kingstree, 34 at Georgetown, 33 at Myrtle Beach. So again, we're getting into the point now in the next couple hours where we should start to see maybe some freezing precip begin to develop and get going. So again, as far as you have winter weather advisories up in the north part, winter weather advisory is about to go into effect for inland Berkeley County in South Carolina. It's going to go into effect at 1 o'clock. And then for the rest of southern South Carolina, your winter weather advisory goes into effect at 4. And so again, we're going to be looking at, that's kind of if you think about it, that's follow the advisories, follow the timing a little bit. Certainly looks like the worst icing in South Carolina is going to be a little bit later. But again, we're going to be watching this area very closely. I'm going to pan down a little bit, and you can see this little batch of rain right here associated with some energy aloft. And this is going to continue to overspread over time. And that'll begin to bring in they'll bring the snow threat up in places like Charlotte, Raleigh. Charlotte, you can see a little bit of snow. There's not any formal advisories for Charlotte yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a winter weather advisory perhaps stretched westward if these trends in the high-res models continue, which we'll take a look at right now. So let's go take a look at our futurecast here. This is the high-res rapid refresh from this is actually the most recent run. This is the 11 o'clock run here, and you can see this is about where we are with timing here. Again, you see a few showers here, and you begin to see the buildup of rain down here. So we have a good shot at we have a good shot at what at a good look at what's going on here. It seems like this initialized pretty well. So we'll pan forward a little bit in time, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and we start to see the icing really start to kick in. Again, the danger zone for icing is going to be in southeastern North Carolina, where there's a potential for over 3 to 4 tenths of an inch of ice in some spots, just northeast of Wilmington. stretching down into places like Florence and getting very near Myrtle Beach. A little bit of snowfall in northeastern North Carolina, maybe mixing with some ice as well, and maybe some sleet. Pan forward ahead to about 7 o'clock. We start to see this freezing line sink way south. An interesting trend on the high-res rapid refresh model that we are not seeing in the other high-resolution models is that it cuts off the rain and ice line pretty sharply across the Charleston Tri-County area. Now, I'm not sure, this has been an interesting trend, and we're kind of at odds with this. So again, we're going to keep an eye on that closely for the potential for maybe a little bit more rain in the Charleston area. Again, roads in that neck of the woods have been pre-treated and ready to go. They'll be treated again tonight. But overall, you see the freezing rain solidly moving southward here into northern parts of Berkeley County over towards Barnwell. We'll do a little zoom here. Orangeburg, Sumter, Florence, still in right on that line where you might get some ice pellets mixing in too, some sleet mixing in. And you can see there's a decent amount of, light snow, potentially stretching from Greenwood through Newberry to Lancaster, near the Charlotte metro area, Fayetteville, Clinton, Goldsboro, Greensville, Rocky Mount. This is at 7 o'clock tonight. And as we go forward, those freezing temperatures are going to continue to sag south, and we're going to have this band of precipitation here for a little while longer, as the front basically stalls. You can see a wave of low pressure. You see where you have a little bit of southerly winds here and some northerly here. You're going to start to see this wave of low pressure. This is what eventually is going to help push everything off. But here's your ice, and by midnight here, this is an interesting thing, and this and run of the models too, is that it does certainly indicate more chances for freezing rain and maybe some sleet mixing in northern Berkeley and Dorchester. However, that is I would assume ice until further notice. This is something that is not really showing up very well trend wise, so I'll back it up a little bit, and you can see that and that run actually didn't complete here. Let me see if I can get back to that time frame. So this is midnight here, and we're seeing in this run that that it's kind of eroding away a little bit at the freezing rain, suggesting that maybe the warm nose aloft is going to be eroded a little bit. But I will contrast that with what we are seeing on models like the NAM 3 kilometer, where at 11 o'clock we're seeing a decent amount of ice stretching across the area. So again, we have differing ideas of what to do here, but I think that the exact details here don't really matter all that much in the grand scheme of things, because impacts are the key. Impacts are going to be the key. Trough travel, especially in the ice storm warning area and the winter storm warning areas, beginning later this afternoon into tonight, into tomorrow morning. Certainly traces in places like Charleston, where we have a lot of bridges and overpasses by necessity, being a coastal town. We're going to have problems with ice, even if there's just a little trace of ice. We've treated some roads. We'll see how that goes. We've had rain, so that could wash some of that away. So that's something that we're going to want to watch very closely as well. Generally a good night to stay home, if at all possible. And again, follow those winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings very closely. You can look at the timing of those to figure out, okay, when should I be wrapping things up? And if you're in North Carolina, I would definitely be considering wrapping things up. If I know a lot of schools are virtual, and that's a good thing. And we have virtual school. We actually have virtual school going on down here today in Charleston too. So very wise moves on that part to keep people off the road, especially as we get into later tonight and this freezing area sags further south. So again, we'll be watching all that very closely throughout the day. The forecast certainly seems on track. We're not seeing anything massively deviant in the models, except for that westward trend that we started identifying last night, and so that has continued, and so that has increased the confidence in some snowfall further west. Charlotte, you certainly seem like you could get in on it, and we'll see what happens if the GSP decides to go with a winter weather advisory for your neck of the woods. Wilmington, you're going to be getting ready for some. Let's get ready for some ice. Unfortunately, Monroe, you very well could be in the snow zone. So there's that. So that could be kind of fun. some unexpected flurries. Again, not expecting too much by the time you reach I-77, but still, maybe an inch or two possible um, there. That is the problem with virtual learning, though. No more snow days from school. That is the problem with virtual learning. I hope we kind of figure out how to deal with that culturally. But in the meantime, we'll ask everybody just take it easy this afternoon and evening. Travel is going to be slick across the states. Um, Across the Carolinas. Again, if you were in Southeast North Carolina, Northeast South Carolina, you stand to see a fairly significant ice storm in those areas. Further south, a glaze, and then further north, a good mix of freezing rain turning to sleet, turning to snow to close it out. So kind of a little bit of everything with this storm over the next 24 hours. So what we'll do here is obviously we'll be breaking in periodically. We're expecting to go back on the air around 7 tonight with a little bit more coverage as well. So stay tuned for that. And if something breaks, something changes, then we'll jump right back in here as well. You can catch replays of these updates and the rest of our forecast in the Carolina Weather Net, streaming 24 hours, 7 days a week on YouTube. Check that out. And if you're watching this on the Carolina Weather Net, welcome. Thank you for watching. We will be there. Otherwise, for the time being right now, I'm Jared Smith for the Carolina Weather Group down here in Charleston, watching the winter storm very closely. We're going to go ahead and sign off now. And, and again, if you have any questions for us, don't hesitate to reach out on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You know where to find us, Carolina Weather Group. Just search that and you'll be good to go. So for the rest of the group here, I'm Jared Smith, closing it out. Y'all have a lovely afternoon. Stay warm, stay safe, and we'll talk to you real soon.